Today I will talk about the IEMs that I use most often day to day. This is something that sometimes people do ask, like which do I prefer, what do I use among all the IEMs I have, which do I actually take out and enjoy myself with. Now these are the IEMs. Now this represents the version that I use maybe about 20% of the time, but this is where I truly enjoy music. Well, this one is something that I use every day for traveling, for work, in office, moving around. It represents about 70% of my usage. Now, the other 10% is when I'm trying new equipment, trying new amplifiers, or just want a different taste of music, and that is really random, so I'll leave that out. So let's talk about this. Now, I will not show you the IEM inside here, I'll leave it later. So let's put this aside and let's take a look at this setup here. Now, this is of course the Fugaku with an interconnect from Effects Audio. This is a pure copper one with 8 strands, and then this is the Loto Pore Gold Touch. Now, the reason why I use the Fugaku among all the flagship IEMs are very simple. I just want to caveat one thing first. When you are talking about flagship IEM, more often than not, you really want to maximize performance. So utilizing an amp such as Mesh Kobo here, or maybe even, something like even the EA4, it's not rare. In fact, I guess it's something to be expected of. So you can say that this setup here is actually no better or worse than any other flagship setup. And the reason why I use this is purely because the Fugaku is a phenomenal IEM on general, for almost any genre itself. It has the best mids that I ever heard, which means that it separates very well, it's full-bodied, it's very powerful, very enjoyable, and very exciting for the mids. Now, for the lows and highs, I think they are great. It does punch very deep. It goes very rumbly. The highs are very clear, but it's not the best. I mean, if you want something more sparkly, I think the Apex SE and the Aurelus will give you that. If you want punchier bass, I think the Apex SE gives a punchier bass. And then if you want soundstage and natural sound, I think the Subtonic Storm gives you that. And if you want a fuller and more warmer sound, the UM high-end series, I believe the Mason series, gives you that particular sound signature. So I wouldn't say the Fugaku is the best in everything, but other than the mids, which is like the top notch, everything else is close to the end, which makes it the most versatile high-end setup for listening to anything. So it's really a matter of preference at that point. Now for the interconnect, it's straightforward. The only requirement for interconnects really is that it has to be fully 5-pole connected, which means ground, left, right. You have to connect the entire 5 poles. This is important, if not, you'll get very funny static sound. Now, why do I use the Effects Audio, or why do I prefer it? Is because it is firstly fully connected, it is flexible, the most flexible of them, and it is very well built. I have a lot of them. I mean, I have a few here, and I have another few that is not with me now. I have one that is like twice the thickness of this. I can tell you that from the sound signature point of view, the difference is very minimal, if any at all. Maybe the ultra thick cable that I talk about, the 2-time thickness one, maybe there is some slight difference in sound, but other than that, all the interconnect sounds kind of the same. The important part is that you have to connect all the poles up, and then after that, it's up to you, how you want it. Do you want this kind of design? Do you want a thicker one? Do you want something look cooler with different colors? Personal preference at that point. Now for the player itself, I use the Loto Pore Gold Touch, and it's for a very simple reason. One of the frustrations I have with using Android IEMs is that you have to constantly charge them. Even when standby, they do run out of power if you don't use them for like 2-3 days. There is some phantom draw to those devices themselves. The Loto Pore Gold Touch doesn't have such a problem. It will just auto shut down when it's not playing. And when it boots up, it's really quick. I mean, take a look at this. It's gonna be like up and running in like 4 seconds, and it's really, really smooth. Yes, the Android devices can put on standby once again, but you just run out of power, and it's irritating that when you start, or should I say when you want to play music, it just doesn't have battery. It's kind of irritating. So when it comes to listening music, I just want to remove all the barriers of resistance, and remembering to charge your device is one such barrier itself. So that is really about it for my enjoyment setting, where I have the time and space to enjoy. So this is the main bulk of usage, the 70%, where I go to work, I use it on the street, I use it around the house when I'm just wanting to immerse myself with ambient sound without any cables at all. The IFI Go port is the closest to a cable connection in terms of sound quality. I've tried many times. It is comparable, if you ask me, in terms of sound quality to an entry DAC or dongle. Easily comparable in terms of sound quality itself. The amount of power for the dongle is also pretty good. It runs most IEM except the Subtonic Storm so far in good amount of volume. And if you pair it with the Apple, iOS devices, it sounds pretty good. And if you pair it with Android, you can use aptX HD, and it's close to high quality music, right? So I would just say that in terms of sound quality, the IFI Go port is as good as it gets for wireless. Now the thing is, what IEM I connect to? And this is the Audio 64 U4S. Now you'll be wondering why U4S. Now there's a few reasons. Firstly, just like the Fugaku, it is an IEM that plays well across the entire spectrum. It's definitely not the best in any particular spectrum because it's not a super high-end device, but for its price, it's probably the best all-rounder at $1,000 USD. It sounds really good, works for any genre. At the macro level, it's very dynamic. At the micro level, it has good enough details, good enough control, punch, and of course, generally smooth. Is it the biggest sounding IEM? No, the bigger brother, the U12T, does it. Is it the punchiest IEM? Definitely not. There's many IEMs that are punchier than it, more bassy than it. But it does everything pretty well. So you'll be wondering, why not I use other IEMs? I mean, obviously, if I can use the Fugaku, I could have put like a IEM that is significantly more expensive, right? Beyond just sound quality, there's of course the requirement to fit inside the box for the IFI Go port. In fact, that is actually a key requirement to an IEM that I will use every day. It has to be wireless. And the next thing is that it has to be comfortable for long-term usage. A lot of the bigger, heavier IEMs are actually not as comfortable as this. This is like light, good, and sounds really nice for its weight. And it's also really small, so it's close to flush with the ear. It's not like very out of place when it comes to wearing it and utilizing it. So overall, the comfort, the size, and the ability to be used with the IFI Go port is the next determining factor on utilizing the U4S as the IEM, in addition to it being sounding really, really good for a $1,000 IEM, and it works out with any genre of music once again. So this is pretty much it. Now, my short little sharing of my day-to-day usage IEMs, the high-end that I can enjoy, and my daily driver. Now, my daily driver isn't that expensive. I mean, it is still expensive if you compare to many consumer devices, but I'll guarantee that this sounds better than any consumer devices in a portable form, and I really, really enjoy it. While this one, I think this is real expensive, and for this setup here, I believe you should try as much as possible with any other setups, and choose the one that best fits what you like. Now, I'm not touching on headphones because there's a whole different genre of its own, and it's actually a competitor to this, but definitely not a competitor to this. In fact, this one is something that everybody should try out. This is the real day-to-day driver. I mean the IFI Go port, not the IEM inside. The IEM inside, I think you just pick and match whatever you can, but having a very good portable device just for listening music is an enjoyment that I really cannot describe as an audiophile. This pretty much makes audiophile as a hobby a true fun thing where I can just change the IEMs if I want. And once you find the one you like, it becomes your daily driver. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this short little video, and I will see you guys next time. If you have any questions, comments on my IEMs or what I do or the reviews, do write them below and I will try to answer them. I love to answer everybody's questions. That's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.